Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Season 9, Episode 4. And not just Season 9, Episode 4, the 200th episode. Specifically because they are counting Best Gift Ever, the holiday special, as an episode. Some people are kind of iffy on that, but I don't care. It's not a big deal to me. So yeah, I'm recording this really late Saturday night. I had gotten home from LTU Expo. It was fantastic. I had a great time. I wouldn't say it was my favorite convention by any means, but I still liked it. I loved it. It was really fun. And I got to try some good, genuine food truck food, and it was delicious. It was a sandwich called the Deathstroke. Basically, it was steak, caramelized onions, some grilled up peppers, mozzarella cheese, hoagie bun, mayo. It was amazing. But we are here for the 200th episode, episode 4 of this season, and I'm excited. I'm hyped. Because the thing is, the 100th episode gave so much love to this fandom. And although I don't know what this episode is going to entail exactly, I do know one thing about it. Because it had been said prior to the season even starting, that while the 100th episode gave all of its love to the fandom, this one, the 200th, is going to give its love to the people behind the show, to the people who made this train run, who in a way, gave birth to the Brony fandom. And I think that's a great idea. It's switching tracks from what we had with the 100th episode, but still keeping it exceptionally special and important. Because, yeah, we want to honor and respect and give all kinds of praise to these people, to Lauren Faust, to the voice actors, to the directors and writers, and all of them. They're so important to this show. Yes, the fandom is fantastic, and showing a lot of love to the fandom is important. And I think that the staff of the MLP show have done such a phenomenal job with that. But again, we need to also show that love to the people who actually made it, to the people who worked on it for almost 10 years, actually probably 10 years now, because they started working on it before it actually started airing. So, all these people who put their blood, sweat, and tears into such a phenomenal series, and this is the final season. So not only having it work for the 200th episode, not only does that make sense, but having it in the final season as well, I think that's important. And again, I don't actually know anything about the episode. I don't know what the story's going to entail. I don't know what it's called. I don't know who wrote it. All I know is that it's a big deal and that it's going to show love to the people who made this show work. And damn, did they make it work. I'm already getting emotional. And I can bet you I will probably cry. Because you guys know by now I am a crier. I am a very emotional person. I get very emotional even just thinking about this stuff. Like I said, I'm tearing up right now. Just starting these pre-thoughts, just talking about this is the 200th episode. That alone gets me emotional because of how much this means. Not many shows make it to 100 episodes, much less 200. And the ones that do are just, it shows how special they are. Even if I may not like them necessarily personally, it shows how special they are to the fans that they have, that they can get those 200 episodes. And I mean, and then there's shows like Supernatural that get like 14 seasons and a 15th final season on the way, which I'm still on season 3, so I still got a long way to go on that. But I am very much enjoying it. It's a fantastic ride. But either way, yeah, I am so excited for what's to come. There's just so much possibility, so much hype behind this episode, and even the rest of the season. Um, Now, the third episode after the premiere did deal a lot with the repercussions of the tree and kind of fix things with the young six and creating the clubhouse of friendship. That's what I'm specifically calling it. I'm not calling it the clubhouse or the treehouse of harmony. I'm calling it of friendship because I think it just works better for their specific group. I mean, Harmony, it still works, but I think it makes a bigger impact for their specific group. And something I didn't talk about last time, by the way, with the last episode, um, there was massive allegories with the last episode and the fandom. I think I might have mentioned it very briefly because I did notice it, but I didn't really touch upon it heavily, and I'm not going to go into super amount of detail here, but I did want to bring it up. There are massive allegories to the fandom, and how with the tree becoming something new, it's kind of like the fandom moving on from the finale of Friendship is Magic of Generation 4 and becoming something new as Generation 5 comes upon us and as just the future comes upon us. Um, just like the Tree of Harmony won't die, neither will the Brony fandom, as long as we put that love and friendship and effort into it, just like the Young Six did. So yeah, massive allegories there. You could tell they knew what they were doing. um, Apple Geek really noted on that in his reaction. If you haven't seen Apple Geek's reaction, definitely go watch it. If you haven't seen any of Apple Geek's reactions, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Go and watch Apple Geek's reactions. He's one of the best, for sure. But in all seriousness, yeah, I am really excited for this, and I really can't wait to see how they show this love to the people who deserve it the most. The people who gave this show to us that allowed people like me to get past depression and suicide attempts. That have helped people get past so many hard times just by having a character like Pinkie Pie, who teaches us that even in the hard times, it's okay to smile. Characters like Rarity, who teaches us that beauty can be found in anything. I'm getting super emotional right now. I was gonna. Characters like Applejack, who teaches us that honesty is the best policy, but not when it hurts others. Like Fluttershy, who teaches us that kindness is the best gift of all. Like Rainbow Dash, who teaches us to be loyal to those we hold dear. And of course, Twilight, who teaches us that friendship is magic. So yeah, this is a big fucking deal. This episode is really big, really important. And I mean, I'm crying I'm tearing up so much just in the pre-thoughts. Oh, I'm gonna be a mess. But we should get on. We should get on with it. I have no idea exactly where this is going to go. I again don't know anything about it, but I am so excited. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I was lied to. I was lied to. This was a phenomenal episode. Let me just preface that right away. This was phenomenal. I'd even say this is actually... I would say this could be up there as one of my favorites. No joke, it was that good. but I was lied to. There wasn't really anything there that was that really gave like this huge amount of love and everything um to uh, our voice actors, our creator, the creator of the show, Lauren Faust, the directors, all of them. It really didn't. It just there might have been an allegory in there and everything, and I can see that completely, but it 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 didn't feel like a 200th episode, if I'm being honest. Again, it was a damn good episode, but it did not feel like a 200th episode. It did not feel like a special episode. Honestly, this episode could have been any episode. There was no reason that it had to be the 200th. There was no reason that it had to be such a big special episode. And again, it was great. It was phenomenal. It had so much to it. I mean, from the amazing expressions, the really phenomenal tight writing, and just the fact that Spike is the one who in the end proved himself to be, well, the sibling supreme, which, by the way, sibling supreme just makes me think of Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange. So I mean, that it's always good to make me think of Doctor Strange. But it's like the only thing you could say that this episode had in terms of it being like this kind of love letter to the people who made this train run, is the fact that the story was made, that the story was created by the main voice actors. By Tara, by Ashley, by Andrea, by Kathy. It's the fact that they were the ones who created the story. Even though they didn't personally write the episode, they still created the story. And that's amazing. That's great. But it otherwise just felt like any other episode. In terms of just, again, it not feeling like anything super special. So I just feel like I was lied to. And I feel like this almost didn't need to be a 200th episode. It just really didn't. But either way, I did love it again. So besides just the, general stuff, like phenomenal writing, the really, really tight pacing, the amazing facial expressions, all of that jazz. Besides just that, it was really funny. Like, seriously, the comedy was on point. It had some great callbacks to it as well. And the plot, like the idea of it, is kind of silly when you first think about it, but the way it's handled actually feels right. It feels right. It feels like it works. Like it just makes sense to do this kind of plot for the series. And how each of them did it and everything, how like initially the expected plan was too expected. Even Shining Armor sent the letter saying like, oh yeah, that's what's going to happen and all. And so Rarity came up with a plan instead to just everyone have their own plans and do their own things, but that didn't end up working, which in and of itself is kind of expected because it's like they're just coming up with random shit and throwing it together. But then in the end, they went back to the expected plan, and as expected, it didn't work. But then another unexpected plan had been going on behind the scenes the entire time. And here's the thing. It didn't feel like it came out of nowhere because it was set up. There were things in the episode that you needed to kind of look back on to see that connection. You saw Luna and Celestia were clearly having some issues with each other and their viewpoints on this. The fact that Zephyr Breeze was put on guard during this test, especially, came across as a really strange decision. Even though it's like, okay, Zephyr trying to become a rogue guard, that's one thing. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. But the fact that he was put on duty like during this specific time, when this is all going down, That just seemed really off to me. Um, and just various other little things. And the way Spike brought up the fact that he had like some feelings of not being seen as a younger sibling to Twilight and Shining Armor in the past and everything, it seemed like that was almost kind of unrelated to everything else that was going on. But again, when you stack all of that together, when you put it together, you see there is something else clearly going on. And I wonder if you watch that back, maybe you'll see like in fact I'm gonna actually look. See if like Spike was actually talking to Luna during that point. I really actually kinda wanna see. Okay, we see the part where Shining Armor's going over his defenses. I'm trying to find the exact point. He's talking to Twilight there. And then he's gone. Yeah, because Spike is right by Twilight's side while she's talking to Shining Armor, and then he's gone. The next time it shows Twilight from like a notable body, like full body angle, Spike is not there. That is a fantastic touch. And at a point before he goes into his plan, I'm going to mute this. You see Luna in the background, and her head is turned away from Celestia, so I assume that may have been the point where Spike was talking to him, or talking to her. Let me see where it comes out after that. Because when he comes out after that, Spike is back with everyone again. So yeah, it was definitely there. It was just, you have to look back on it. You have to really think about everything and how it came together. It works. It makes sense. And that's good. That's very good. I also mentioned during the reaction, I like it when Spike is written competently. Because Spike is one of those weird characters in the series where sometimes he's written amazingly. But then you get episodes like Princess Spike, where he's written absolutely horribly. Or Spike at Your Service, another phenomenal example where he's, yeah, that's one of the worst episodes of the show for a reason. But yeah, it's just like, Spike is one of those weird characters. But when he is written competently, it feels great. Because he has so much potential to be such an amazing character. I just wish he was given that opportunity more. So to see him be so competent to actually come up with this plan and everything and set it into motion perfectly is awesome, and I love it. I love it. It was a phenomenal episode on pretty much every aspect. But again, it really just didn't feel like a 200th episode to me. And again, maybe I'm missing the allegories here. Maybe there are some deep allegories like the last episode had that really tie it back in. But honestly, the last episode felt like more of a special episode because the allegories were honestly a lot more obvious. I mean, if there even are any with this one. They were super obvious with the last one, and it felt important. And again, even though it wasn't as technically sound as this one, it still just came across as more special with what it was trying to say. This episode was just a great episode. A phenomenal episode. But it's like, honestly, episodes like, oh crap, what is the title of the episode? The Perfect Pair. Episodes like The Perfect Pair, which go into Applejack's parents and all, that honestly felt more special than this episode. Honestly. The 100th episode definitely felt more special. And it's just like, even Amending Fences, which is my personal favorite episode of the show, with Moondancer and all, where it went into, like, connecting it to the very first episode of the show, that felt more special. And it's like, and again, I'm not saying by any means that I didn't like this episode, or by any means that this episode was bad because it wasn't special as a 200th episode. Not by any means. I love this episode. I adore it. And I'm going to watch it over and over and over again. But, again, I cannot see how it's a 200th episode, personally. I don't get it. I don't. But again, that's a very minor issue. I'm not going to hold that against the episode. I'm not going to say, oh, this episode's bad because it's supposed to be the 200th episode. It's supposed to be special. It's supposed to be good. I'm not going to hold it against the episode. I rate the episodes as they are, not what they're supposed to be, not what they're expected to be. I rate them as they are, as I feel they are. And honestly, this is the best of the season so far, by a long shot. And I loved the first 3 episodes of the season. I think the season started off phenomenally, but this was just that much better. So yeah, overall, I thought this was a brilliant, phenomenal episode. Just did not feel like a 200th episode special to me. It just didn't feel like it was anything extraordinary or out of the ordinary for what the show would do. Again, the only thing that was special was that the story was created by the main voice actors, which is phenomenal and awesome. And they should have written a lot more for this show if this is what they're going to get. Well, okay, not written, but they didn't write it. They should have storied a lot more of this show if this is what they can give us. Seriously. And that's awesome. That's amazing. But again, other than that, not really. And I guess you could say, since the animation seemed like on so much higher quality than normal, that's a little bit special. But again, that's not really enough to say anything. But like I said, phenomenal episode either way. Breathtaking episode. Just so shockingly good. I did not expect that. I mean, not that I say I didn't expect like amazing episodes this season. I just didn't expect that, of all things. I didn't expect to be that invested in the story, to be that just hooked in. Yeah, I love it. But tell me in the comments below what you thought of Sparkles 7. What did you think of this phenomenally written, excellently handled episode? What did you think of the entire Sibling Supreme competition idea? What do you think of Spike being the one to win in the end? Actually kind of going against expectations, which really fits with the story. And what do you think regarding this being the 200th episode? Do you feel like this felt special enough to be a 200th episode? Had you seen any kind of allegories or anything in this that I personally didn't? Let me know all of that in the comments below and more. Thank you so much for tuning in and for continuing to tune into all of these reactions. I may have gotten more emotional during my pre-thoughts than at any point in this episode and after. But still, again, phenomenal episode. I loved it. I adored it. And I can't wait to see what else the season has in store. So, for now, thank you all so much for tuning in. And I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,